the scale of our resource and our ability to harness it. We have a job of work on in terms of that deployment, but make no mistake about the opportunity that's available for areas such as this to have focused upon them the attention of the energy world. As you know, since we met last in the conference in Edinburgh, the Scottish Government have announced the Saltire Prize. That is the world's largest prize for innovation in marine renewables. A £10 million prize. It's open to anyone on the planet, anyone in this room for that matter. John Thurzo is already preparing a television programme to announce his device as he enters the Saltire Prize, but we're doing it with National Geographic. And you know, I obviously knew National Geographic before we entered into partnership with them. I knew them as one of the world's great educational trusts and charities. What I didn't know was their television stations have an audience of 600 million people across the planet. And their focus with us on the Saltire Prize and their portrayal of the entries to the Saltire Prize, and the only condition that's made an entry to the Saltire Prize is your device or your innovation or your platform or your marine deployment has to be in Scotland. That's the only condition and provision in terms of entry into the Saltire Prize, and I can tell there already is a great deal of interest from companies large and small about the requirements and entry to the Saltire Prize. The first panel of announcements have been made in terms of who is going to be the judging panel. The Friends of the Saltire Prize, Joseph Stiglitz, the Nobel-winning economist, chairman of President Clinton's Council of Economic Advisers, John Fahey, the President and Chief Executive of the National Geographic Society, Robert Stavens, the Director of Harvard Environmental Economics Programme, and Richard Daley, the Mayor of Chicago, which is home to the world's first carbon trading exchange. Now, these are some of the friends of the Saltire Prize, some of the big names in renewable energy across the planet. And I was delighted, therefore, that in response to the announcements we'd made and the initial announcement of the Saltire Prize in Washington, that in Fortune magazine had a full page under the title of Scotland Rules the Waves. And for this conference, you want to make sure that the Sunday Post carries the headline, Caithness actually rules the waves. Because as these deployments happen, then obviously one of the obvious important places to be demonstrated is going to be this area of Scotland. This is the epicentre, certainly, of tidal resource, and therefore the opportunity is extraordinary and fantastic. If we think about the European Union's target of 20% of energy from renewables, then we should be aware, of course, that's a target which is not just about electricity production, it's about transport, it's about heating. We're going to soar through that in terms of electricity production, but we've got a great deal more to do in terms of both heating and in terms of transport. And these are areas too, which are going to be the great source of energy, can be the areas which look at how the other aspects of that target can be properly fulfilled. We know what the issues are. I set them out in the start of the speech. But today I think is a day not for dwelling on the grid charges and the need for the offshore transmission system and making sure that the various agencies of government work together in bringing this into reality. I think today is a day for just understanding the scale of the opportunity and the progress that's actually being made. We are, since we last spoke at the start of the year, in a position where we now have a timetable for the leasing of substantial areas of the Pentland Firth. We now have the indications that the first commercial deployments are about to be made, that planning permission is going to be forwarded within the next year for these deployments. We have a commitment from a number of companies that they can see the advantages in the devices that they want to deploy being made and engineered locally, because the economics of tidal power are the economics of finding a way to have a machine which is under constant movement and constant pressure, which can be maintained in such a way that doesn't require you to necessarily remove the entire machine, but can be serviced and maintained and hopefully manufactured in a base close to the sphere and scene of operations. Tidal power looks like it's going to be a technology which is going to greatly favour the local communities in which the tidal power is being deployed. So this is a day for reckoning that after a generation of anticipating the potential of the seas, that the seas around Scotland, the seas around Caithness, are going to reap an enormous harvest to the benefit of us all. It's an exciting day to be in Caithness. It's a day to acknowledge the work that's been done, to understand the challenges that we all have, but to recognise that the future is with us now. The deployments are starting now, and this incredible energy resource to fulfil our ambitions to be the powerhouse of Europe is one which is now starting to arrive. Thanks very much.